Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to get past the headlines. And today, we're looking at something potentially massive, a diplomatic move that, well, it could shift everything in a major conflict. We're talking about the White House reportedly considering Budapest for direct talks. Think Putin, Zelensky, and maybe, just maybe, President Trump joining them. A trilateral summit.
It's a huge possibility being floated.
Exactly. So our mission today, let's unpack these reports. Why Budapest, it seems? Unexpected, right? With all its history.
Definitely charged.
And what are the real strategic implications, the risks? This isn't just about a meeting location. It feels like a real diplomatic gamble.
A very high-stakes one.
Okay, let's start digging in. What exactly are the reports saying? What's the intel on this potential summit?
Well, the signals are pretty strong that Budapest really has emerged as the top candidate. We're seeing reports.
From where specifically?
Sources like Ukrainsky Nationalny Noviny, RBC, Ukraine. They're indicating the U.S. Secret Service has actually been, preparing for a summit there.
Preparing. So that suggests it's more than just talk.
It really does. It points towards significant planning, real forward momentum, not just a trial balloon.
Okay, but what's the official word? Is the White House confirming Budapest?
Well, officially, they're keeping things very tight-lipped. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wouldn't confirm or deny.
Just the standard details later.
Pretty much. Just said details would be shared when appropriate. Standard procedure for this kind of sensitive planning, really.
And Russia. Have they bought in?
They haven't given an official green light, no. The Kremlin's line is that any talks like this need utmost care.
Utmost care. Sounds cautious. Maybe hesitant?
Cautious, certainly, considered. They're acknowledging the possibility, perhaps, but emphasizing the sensitivity.
And what about the view from Europe? Are they optimistic?
Not exactly optimistic. Skeptical is probably the better word. Politico reported on this. European leaders seem to think it might not, ultimately succeed.
So why entertain it then?
Well, there's a sense that even if it fails, the process itself could be revealing.
Revealing how?
It might force Putin to sort of lay his cards on the table, to commit to certain things or reject them outright.
Ah, I see. So it clarifies his position for Europe's long-term strategy, even without a breakthrough peace deal.
Exactly. Removes ambiguity, potentially. It's a gamble they seem willing to watch play out.
That's interesting. Using the process itself as an intelligence-gathering exercise, almost. But, okay, let's pivot to the big question. Why Budapest? Out of all the places, this one.
Right. This is where it gets really fascinating, I think. There are practical reasons, and then there's the deep symbolism.
Let's start practical. Logistics, legal stuff.
Yeah, so think about other places. Geneva, maybe.
Yeah.
Historically mutual, right?
Sure. Classic summit location.
But Geneva could be tricky. There's that outstanding ICC warrant for Putin. Hosting him there could create serious legal issues for Switzerland, maybe even imply immunity.
Ah, so Budapest doesn't have that specific legal complication.
Apparently not. It seems to offer a cleaner path from a purely legal and logistical standpoint for Putin's presence.
Okay, that makes sense. But you mentioned symbolism.
Yes, and this is heavy. Budapest, 1994. The Budapest Memorandum.
Where Ukraine gave up nuclear weapons for security guarantees. Guarantees that included Russia.
Precisely. Guarantees about its borders. So holding talks there now about this conflict, it just hangs in the air, doesn't it? That history, those broken promises.
It's incredibly potent, almost confrontational symbolism.
It really is. And then there's another factor.
Which is?
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban.
Right. He's known for having, let's say, decent lines of communication with both Trump and Putin.
Exactly. Cordial ties. Which, could make the practical arrangements much easier. He could be a facilitator.
But that's a double-edged sword, surely.
Absolutely, because Orban also has this distinctly pro-Russian reputation in many circles.
So choosing Budapest, potentially facilitated by Orban, that could be seen as problematic, sending the wrong signal.
That's the concern, yes. It could immediately create complications around perceptions of neutrality, legitimacy, before anyone even sits down.
So it solves one problem, the ICC warrant issue, but potentially creates another perception problem. And that symbolism of 1994 is the idea to confront the past failure. Or does it risk making trust even harder to build?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It forces that history right onto the table. Maybe that's the point. A calculated risk.
It seems like every angle has these complex trade-offs. Which leads us to the bigger picture. Beyond the location, what are the fundamental stakes? What could this summit actually achieve, potentially, for de-escalation or peace?
Well, the stakes are just immense. If, and it's a big if, a summit like this were successful.
Bilateral, trilateral.
Right, either way. Especially if it tackles security guarantees, it really could open a door, a path towards de-escalation, maybe even, proper peace negotiations.
A direct channel at the highest level.
Exactly, to address issues that have just been stuck.
And you mentioned security guarantees. How might that look? Are there concrete ideas floating around?
We're seeing different approaches emerge already. President Trump, for instance, has been clear, no U.S. ground troops.
But he's offered air support instead.
Yes, air support as an alternative, which is interesting. It suggests a possible U.S. position of tangible commitment, but trying to de-risk direct ground conflict.
And Europe, where do they fit in?
Well, that U.S. stance kind of forces European nations to define their own roles more clearly, doesn't it? Maybe stepping up with different kinds of support, potentially ground troops if the U.S. isn't providing them, or other security supplements. You could see a sort of multi-layered approach.
Okay, so that's the potential positive outcome, the hope. But let's talk about the flip side. What are the big risks? What could make this whole thing collapse?
Well, the elephant in the room is always Putin's perceived stubbornness. His long-term goals.
You mean whether he's genuinely interested in a negotiated settlement that Ukraine could accept?
Exactly. Is he willing to move? And does the venue Budapest maybe make him dig in more, reminding him of past perceived grievances? Or could the familiarity somehow soften things? It's impossible to know, and that uncertainty could absolutely derail things.
And the symbolism we talked about, the 1994 memorandum, you mentioned it being heavy. Could it also be actively detrimental?
It certainly could. That direct link to a major failed agreement. Well, it raises real skepticism, doesn't it? Can you build new trust in a place synonymous with a broken promise?
Or is the idea, as you suggested, to force a reckoning with that failure to build something stronger? It's a gamble on psychology almost.
It feels that way, a very deliberate, maybe even provocative choice to frame the talks.
And what about internal politics, especially for Ukraine?
Yes. Domestic optics are crucial. If the venue is seen as too friendly to Russia because of Orban.
Which it likely would be by many Ukrainians.
Right. That could seriously undermine public support in Ukraine for President Zelensky engaging there, or for any potential agreements that come out of it.
Making them politically toxic back home, even if they look good on paper internationally.
Precisely. It could cripple the ability to implement anything. It's a really delicate balancing act.
So Putin's true intentions, the ghost of that 1994 failure haunting the room, and the tightrope Zelensky has to walk domestically. It's a minefield.
It truly is.
Okay, so summing this up, Budapest as a potential venue, it really highlights an incredibly bold, maybe audacious diplomatic strategy.
Yeah, it blends that practical security planning we talked about, avoiding the ICC issue, with this really deep, almost raw symbolism.
Its success seems to hang on so many threads.
Absolutely. Does Russia actually engage seriously? Can Ukraine negotiate effectively without looking like it's caving? And critically, can the U.S. and Europe actually deliver on any new promises? Can they be trusted this time, given the history?
Learning from the past failures associated with that very city.
That's the hope, or perhaps the challenge, laid bare.
So, as you think about all this, consider that interplay. History and symbolism, like we see with Budapest. They can be incredibly powerful diplomatic tools, can't they?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
But they can also be a huge source of distrust and skepticism. The question really becomes, in negotiations this complex, this fraught, how much does the stage itself actually shape the play?